Hey, so joining me in the vlog is my lovely and effervescent wife, Cindy. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing
She's
wonderful.
complaining about the lighting situation. The lights, she wanted to know if she could put her sunglasses on. Anyhow, we actually were recording a conversation in the car using the new action cam. That's the Cam Park. It's the 4K action cam they have.
I thought.
No, it's right here.
It's right there.
And the audio was just horrible with it. It takes beautiful video.
It does.
It absolutely takes beautiful video. And if you don't need the audio from this thing, then it's for $50, is probably worth it. I would think that it's worth it. But I was looking for something that had a little bit better audio, and maybe we'll have to get some type of external mic or whatever. But at any rate, what we were talking about, because this is something that's been asked many, many times, is that I've been self-employed our entire married life.
Yes, you have.
And you actually come from a background where you worked either in a factory or you worked for somebody else.
Right.
You've had multiple careers in the past. You've
Right.
been in insurance and real estate and in factory work. And so you've been kind of a jack of all trades.
Right. Worked on the dock. Right.
It was a dock worker.
Yeah, loved it. I loved that. Loved it.
And so did the guys that worked there. But regardless, being self-employed is a whole different animal, for sure.
Yeah.
And when we got engaged, I had a mortgage company, and Cindy did, and I begged her really to come work with me, and she was very apprehensive.
I was scared to.
Because we were just, getting married and I was coming to work.
I didn't know what kind of boss you were going to be.
Right, and but we did it.
We did.
And so we're married, and we live together, and then we work together all day, and we're together 24 hours a day. And a lot of people,
Including family.
just don't see how you can make that work.
That's true.
How do you not go for each other's jugglers or whatever? And so I thought it'd be kind of fun to get your perspective, being married to an entrepreneur, being one yourself, and coming from that world of working for other people, and then, kind of jumping in and working for yourself. So what was that transition like for you, coming from, working for somebody else to actually saying, oh, this is my own business? And what was the transition like for you?
Well, in the beginning with you, it was a little scary, like you said. But once I came over and started, it really, everything smoothed out. So it was great. I enjoyed it. I loved the transition. It was pretty good.
Funny story. When we first, your second day.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Her second day on the job, she passed out stone cold. No joke. She was down on the floor.
That's how scared I was.
No, she actually you got food poisoning, and you spent your first should have been your first full week on the job in the hospital.
Right, that's true. And thank God I was married to you. At least you understood.
Right. But it is a huge transition, and because you don't have that. Number one, you don't have that security of having a check there every Friday. Number one, and then more importantly,
well, yes, you mean owning your own business?
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, when I came with you, it wasn't like owning my own business. Okay, I was your wife, and then later down the road become your partner. Okay, so
well, that was how you thought about it, but
well, that's exactly how I thought.
I was actually quite different, because I believe that once you got married, we combined forces. So
well, I believed that too, but it was still your
no. But
business.
I do understand this was his business, and
right. I mean,
I'm coming into it.
I couldn't just jump in there and tell you what I thought.
Right.
I mean.
But see, I encourage you to do that. And I think that if a husband and wife work together, no, it is a partnership.
No, it is a partnership, and you did encourage me.
And you do. I mean, ultimately, somebody's got to make the final decision.
Right. And that was.
But
we decided
you certainly
that would be
have to. You certainly have to take counsel in one another.
Right.
In order to make this whole thing work.
Right.
Right. And and of course, I think we both have a reasonably good sense of humor about things, and you need one. Believe me, if you're going to work all day long and then come home and spend the evening together, you really need it. The one thing that I think that really took some getting used to me with you was that you wanted to continue talking about work when we left the office.
I wanted to continue to work.
And
I couldn't let it go.
Right. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. That was something we had to.
And I think as a guy, I tend to compartmentalize, which means that, work is work, home is home, and, whatever. You just kind of put this in little boxes.
That doesn't work for me.
But you
or
ladies,
women, most
right,
women.
women don't do that.
No, we don't.
It tends to be.
Yeah, it all intertwines together.
All one big thing.
It's all one big
It's
thing.
just right.
That's
and
right.
That took some getting used to on my part. And it's still to this very day. She'll catch herself, or I'll say, hey, honey, it's going on, 10 o'clock at night.
Which is unfair to you. That it is.
Let's talk about this in the morning. That was,
Right.
but you're much better. Much, much, much better. What about handling, all couples, right? They have disputes. We fight, we have our fights.
You bet we do.
So how do you handle, having an argument at home, then turn around on that ride to work together, right? Or you have a fight at work over something working. How do you handle that ride home or going to, and how do you make that transition?
It's very rocky on the ride home.
Okay. Well, I think for me, okay, it's a matter, again, because I have that ability to compartmentalize a little bit, to try to resolve things right away. I think that's really important. And I think if you're going to work together and build a business together, you have to be able to work things out very, very quickly.
Very quickly, right. That is true.
And do it in a way that it's not a zero-sum game. It's really not, right? Both of you got to kind of be willing to compromise.
A lot of times, right.
And especially, I think what makes it even more complicated is when you have employees.
Right.
Because you don't want them to hear you two arguing, and you don't want...
Right, it's very important not to let them hear you arguing. Absolutely.
Right, and because it creates this, some people will take sides, maybe.
Well, then they don't feel secure.
They don't feel secure, right?
Right.
Those two are fighting or whatever, and they just want to get out of Dodge.
Right, right.
So you can't have that.
No.
But being an entrepreneur and being self-employed for all these years, would you say that ultimately that the experience is better than working for somebody else?
Oh, yeah, without hesitation, absolutely. It has its ups and downs, okay? It has its good and its bad as far as that goes. But I'd say absolutely work for yourself. You bet. If you can.
It does have it, right. I think one of the worst things for me on the negative sides, and that is that people tend to think you have a lot of money, that you're really, really wealthy because you own a business. Now, you may ultimately end up being wealthy, but in that interim period, you're really not.
No.
Okay? Because you're constantly reinvesting in the business, and you've got bills to pay and all that, and you don't get like matching funds on a 401k. You bankroll it your whole self.
Right.
You pay your full boat of Social Security. Okay? So I pay twice as much in Social Security taxes than, say, somebody working for another company, because that employer is actually matching half. So financially aside,
you wouldn't know when you was at that point, okay? Because it's a constant. It's like, okay, you don't know when to stop,
right?
Okay, or I don't know when to stop, or whatever.
Right.
So you don't know when you've reached that point when enough is enough. Because unless you're born a billionaire, okay, and I'm sure enough's not enough for them either.
Right.
I don't think you ever reach that point where you think you're wealthy.
What's
that number?
That's an interesting question.
We're not there, but what would that number be?
Right. Well, I'll use the words of Tom Griswold. If you know who I'm talking about, there's a radio show called Bob and Tom in Indianapolis. To Tom's measurement, when you don't have to worry about a car payment. You don't have to worry about whatever car you want. You don't have to worry about making the payments on it. That's wealthy to him. I don't know. I suppose when you know that you don't have to worry about your finances anymore, okay, that you don't have to worry about things like retirement, your mortgages and all that, I guess.
I think we would worry till the day we die, no matter if we were retired or not.
But Cindy's been with me for 20. We've been married over 25 years, and she's worked with me for 25 years. And we've had some successful businesses. We had one that didn't make it, and that was hard. That was very brutal. And but she hung in there with me, and so I'm, you know, that's it. I think support. She's been very supportive of me. I've been supportive of you.
Yes, you have.
Currently in our current business, you're not as active in this one.
No.
Because it's much more technical than your comfort level.
Right.
And we're kind of in a role where there's not as much involvement that's required. Right. But in the beginning days, you helped me get it opened up.
I did what I could do, for sure.
And, you know, if I ever needed you to, you jump back in.
I would. You wouldn't want me to, but I would.
Yeah, there's a accounting program. Have at it.
That's okay, babes.
But she has been with me through this roller coaster ride that is called small business ownership,
and that's what it is,
and entrepreneurship, and it is. I think it's one of those careers or things that you can go from absolute terror to joy in seconds.
Absolutely.
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis, right.
You know. But we wanted to share this with you a little bit on there because this is something we're asked a lot. How do you not kill one another? How do you get along? And, you know, what's your if you had one message to give to, somebody thinking about starting a business, what do you think that would be?
Well, make sure you have enough money set aside and jump in. That's
actually quite smart. One of the biggest reasons that a small business doesn't make it is lack of capital. They just did not have enough capital to make a go of it. And so, that is huge. And I've always been fortunate enough to have the capital to, launch a business. But I've always looked for create businesses that didn't require a massive capital investment. And I've also knew that I had to be profitable from the very beginning. I've never had a business where I had the luxury of saying, hey, I'm going to go 3, 4, 5 years and lose hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I never had that.
Oh, Lord, I couldn't handle that either.
That is an alien concept to me. But yet that's the way a lot of high-tech companies actually do things. They, project losing, Tesla. It's in their business plan to lose so many billions of dollars a year. Netflix, negative.
Well, we wouldn't have the.
But it's a small. But the reality is a small. You got to be out selling from day one. Sell the product first, and get that cash flow going in. And certainly finances. If you two are not compatible on the finances and have similar goals, you're going to be in big trouble.
That's a fact. That is a fact. That is a fact.
I've seen many small business owners. Maybe they had a good quarter. Great month, and they went and they blew the money rather than putting it back in the rainy day fund. And I'm just quite the opposite.
We've never been like that.
I claw it all back and keep it in rainy day funds because the rainy days will come. I just wanted to kind of have Cindy kind of give her thoughts and her feelings in this video. So thank you.
Something else I wanted to mention.
Sure.
On every business that you decided to start, we never had inventory. We've never had.
I have always avoided a business that required inventory.
Have. And I think that's important.
I don't think...
Not everyone can do that, obviously, but I think that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, you're either talking about manufacturing or retail of some kind, okay? And retail has generally low margins, high overhead, and I just think that... it's not a business that I wanted to be involved with at all. That's right. I look for margins, making as much margins as I can. Hey, Ray, anything else?
Yes, and it has to be something that you love. It has to be something you love because everyone you started, you loved them.
There you go. That's really great advice. All right. Hey, thanks so much, honey.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it, babe. All right. And leave your questions and comments down below. Talk to you later.